Hello friends, we are moving ahead with the antibiotic inhibiting protein synthesis of the microorganisms. So in that context, we will be discussing in this presentation about macrolide antibiotics. The objective of this session is to know about different macrolide antibiotics, the salient aspects of macrolides and other related drugs, examples, then salient pharmacokinetic features, uses and side effects of macrolides and other related antibiotics. Why they are called macrolides? This can be asked as a viva question. The answer is they have a large macrolide ring attached to sugar in their structure. Examples of macrolides are erythromycin, oleandomycin, spiramycin, azithromycin, roxithromycin, clarithromycin, telithromycin, etc. Now, let's talk about the prototype drug, that is erythromycin, that is derived from fungus Streptomyces erythraeus. The spectrum of activity of macrolides are gram-positive aerobes. Erythromycin and clarithromycin is showing more activity on gram-positive aerobes. Most active is clarithromycin, then erythromycin, then azithromycin. Examples are methicillin susceptible Staph aureus, Streptococcus pneumoniae, Bacillus pneumoniae, Corynebacterium. Gram-negative organisms like newer macrolides such as azithromycin has enhanced activity towards gram-negative organisms. Azithro is more active on gram-negative than clarithro and erythro. Examples of gram-negative H: influenzae, Neisseria, Bordetella, B. pertussis, and nowadays azithromycin has got much action. It is used for COVID infection as well. I don't say that it is active on COVID virus, but it prevents secondary bacterial infections. Macrolides can be classified into 5 types according to the carbon number of lactone ring, but we are not going into detail about the structure. But it can be classified, we can have newer macrolides by attaching different type of sugars, like azalides are azithromycin, trimelides like tulathromycin, ketolides like telithromycin. So if we change the sugar molecule attached to the macrocyclic ring, then we have the newer macrolides. Let's talk about erythromycin, clarithromycin, and azithromycin, which is more used in our therapeutics. Erythromycin can be considered as first macrolide obtained from Streptomyces erythraeus in 1952. It is active more on gram-positive organisms. Half-life is 2 hours, and dose of erythromycin is from 250 to 500 mg for adults, can be given for 6 hourly. It is unstable in gastric juice, so formulated as enteric coated tablet. This can be asked as a short question. Clarithromycin is derived from erythromycin, that is the congener of erythromycin, by addition of methyl group in the structure. It is active against both gram-positive and gram-negative organism, and it is more active against Mycobacterium avium complex. It is stable in stomach acid. Plasma half-life is 6 hours. Dose can be ranging from 250 to 500 mg twice a day for 7 days. Azithromycin is an azalide which is derived from erythromycin by addition of methylated nitrogen into the lactone ring. Best activity is seen on gram-negative organisms. It is slowly released from the tissue. Half-life is more than 2 days. Dose can be 250 to 500 mg once a day for 5 to 7 days. It has got higher efficiency and lesser side effects. Nowadays, azithromycin can be considered for secondary manifestation or secondary bacterial infection in the treatment of COVID-19. So this is the government guideline. When your patient is in home care, tablet azithromycin 500 mg 5 tablet once daily with other care like paracetamol, multivitamin, cetirizine, ranitidine, and vitamin C. Main interaction is they are cytochrome P450 inhibitors. So metabolism of many drugs which are getting metabolized by cytochrome P450 family of isoenzymes like terfenadine, estimazole, they all get, the metabolism gets decreased. So there will be cardiotoxicity, especially QT prolongation is seen with these drugs, and patient may develop ventricular arrhythmia. So whenever patient is treated with any of the macrolides, terfenadine, estimazole, these drugs should not be given. There will be increased plasma level of phenytoin, warfarin, digoxin. So toxicity of phenytoin, warfarin, digoxin may be seen when we are treating the patient along with macrolides. The pharmacokinetic profile, route of administration can be oral and parenteral. Absorption of erythromycin by oral route is poor from GIT due to acid sensitivity. Clarithromycin and azithromycin are well absorbed from GIT. Distribution is rapidly distributed into the systemic circulation. They can cross blood-brain barrier. They can't cross blood-brain barrier, but they can cross placenta. So should not be given during pregnancy. Metabolism is by liver and excretion is through bile mainly, but clarithromycin is excreted through urine also. Mechanism of action, we have already seen that macrolide is a protein synthesis inhibitor. Macrolides bind to 50S subunit of ribosome, and that will inhibit the polypeptide chain elongation and protein synthesis. That will result in inhibition of growth and multiplication. Generally, macrolides are bacteriostatic, but at higher concentration, bactericidal also. Development of resistance is either by gene mutation, like they will have the newer target, the target protein will be differently exposed, or there will be efflux pump generation that will not allow macrolide to get into organism, and it will be effluxed out. Indications of macrolides, it can be, the most important thing you should remember is it can be considered as substitute to beta lactams. That means those patients who cannot be treated with penicillin or who are having hypersensitivity towards penicillins can be safely treated with macrolides. Upper respiratory tract infections like pharyngitis, tonsillitis, sore throat, these all infections can be treated safely with erythromycin and other azithromycin like drugs. Whooping cough. For whooping cough, macrolide is the first drug of choice. For lower respiratory tract infections like pneumonia, mycoplasma pneumoniae, community acquired pneumonia, anthrax, COPD, and nowadays COVID-19. For COVID-19, I don't say it's antibacterial, but to prevent these lower respiratory tract infections, secondary bacterial infection can be treated with macrolides, especially azithromycin. Other indications, sinusitis, otitis media, H. pylori infestation. We have seen that H. pylori infestation is gram-negative organism which can cause ulceration into the stomach mucosa. For that, we need to treat the patient with either triple drug or quadruple drug, like proton pump inhibitor, antacids, metronidazole, and tetracycline or macrolides. Skin and soft tissue infections, Mycobacterium avium complex, especially in AIDS patients, gonorrhea, conjunctivitis, Lyme's disease, these are all indications of macrolides. Erythromycin, if we consider, this can be asked in short note or viva. Erythromycin can be considered as first drug of choice for whooping cough, atypical pneumonia, and chancroid. These are three indications where you have to think about erythromycin. Erythromycin can be considered as second choice to Legionnaires pneumonia, chlamydia pneumonia, chlamydial urethritis, conjunctivitis, ophthalmia neonatorum caused by gonorrhea, Campylobacter gastroenteritis, streptococcal. These are the alternative to penicillin. Where penicillin cannot be given, then erythromycin can be thought of. Streptococcal pharyngitis, tonsillitis, mastoiditis, prophylaxis of rheumatic fever, during dental surgery to prevent endocarditis, diphtheria, syphilis, gonorrhea, leptospirosis, tetanus, and diabetic gastroparesis. These are all things to be treated with penicillin first, but by chance penicillins are contraindicated or beta-lactams are contraindicated, then we can think of erythromycin. If we consider about the side effects of macrolides, your favorite side effects: gastrointestinal discomfort, anorexia, nausea, vomiting, blah blah blah. Then diarrhea, mild allergic reactions. Then in case of toxic doses, it may cause reversible hearing loss, liver toxicity, jaundice, ventricular arrhythmia. This can be considered as main side effects. Macrolides are contraindicated in case of hepatic dysfunction, hypersensitivity to macrolides, and during pregnancy. That was part A. Now let's talk about other newer macrolides, that is lincomycin, clindamycin. Lincomycin and clindamycin are same as erythromycin. Their antimicrobial property resemble erythromycin. The spectrum, mechanism, everything resembles erythromycin. Lincomycin is forerunner of clindamycin, that is less potent and may cause more diarrhea. Mechanism of resistance also: modification of ribosomal binding site. Antibiotic efflux is not an important mechanism of clindamycin resistance, but cross resistance is complete between erythromycin and other macrolides. Friends, I hope you remember what is cross resistance. That means if the resistance is towards erythromycin is developed, then we cannot think about clindamycin as well. Lincomycin and clindamycin can be considered for therapeutic use for severe anaerobic infections, aerobic gram-positive infections, but not for MRSA. Combination with pyrimethamine can be given for AIDS-related toxoplasmosis. Combination with primaquine for AIDS-related pneumocystitis carini pneumonia. Lincomycin and clindamycin may show adverse effects like other macrolides: antibiotic-associated colitis, pseudomembranous colitis especially, allergic reactions, and liver function may get disturbed. Clindamycin, erythromycin, chloramphenicol can exhibit mutual antagonism because of their ribosomal binding site are nearby, proximal. Their ribosomal binding site is 50S, 30S ribosomes. So they all can show mutual antagonism. બધું એક સાથે ના દેવાય. Part C is vancomycin and teicoplanin. Vancomycin is bactericidal for gram-positive organism, especially gram-positive cocci, including MRSA and MRSE. If we talk about vancomycin, the antimicrobial antibacterial mechanism is by inhibiting cell wall synthesis by binding to DLA terminus of nascent peptidoglycan pentapeptide. Resistance develops because of the alteration of this binding site. So we can say vancomycin inhibits cell wall synthesis. That is unlike other macrolides. Oral administration of vancomycin is very poor. Mind well. Why I have written in box that we will discuss in the later slides. But keep in mind that oral administration of vancomycin is poorly absorbed. Intravenous administration is can be given, and it is excreted by glomerular filtration. That means accumulates when renal function is impaired. It is widely distributed in the body, including CSF, when the meninges are inflamed. So in case of bacterial meningitis, we can think about vancomycin when other drugs are contraindicated or less effective. Vancomycin can be thought for severe infection caused by MRSA, alternative to beta-lactam antibiotics, enterococcal or staphylococcal endocarditis. It can be given with combination with aminoglycoside gentamicin, and pseudomembranous enterocolitis. This can be asked in viva. Pseudomembranous enterocolitis is the infection of colon. This is the endoscopic view of colon wall where there are infections. If given orally, we know that it is not absorbed, so it will have a local effect. So vancomycin, though it is not absorbed orally, is the drug of choice for oral administration for pseudomembranous enterocolitis because it remains there for longer period of time and acts locally. This is the histopathological feature or slide of this is the normal flora, normal slide, and focal ulceration can be seen at the tips of mucosa. This is the exudate of fibrin and inflammatory tissue. This is the pathological picture of pseudomembranous enterocolitis. So, if we talk about the side effect of vancomycin, hypersensitive reactions, it releases histamine, especially Redman syndrome. Mind well, friends, this also can be asked in short note or viva. The antibiotic causing developing Redman syndrome is vancomycin because it has got capacity to release histamine from mast cells. The patient will have vasodilatation and will have redness over face. That means Redman syndrome. Ototoxicity, nephrotoxicity and GI effect because it is not absorbed orally, patient will have crampy diarrhea or cramps, abdominal cramps. Teicoplanin is newer drug that is active against more gram-positive organisms only. Mechanism of action and spectrum is similar to vancomycin. It's more active than vancomycin against enterococci and equally effective against MRSA. Some vancomycin resistant enterobacteria are effective to teicoplanin, but vancomycin resistant Staph aureus are not susceptible to teicoplanin. It can be injected intramuscularly as well. Toxicity is lesser than vancomycin. So that was all about salient aspects of macrolide and related antibiotics, pharmacological basis of these drugs, uses, interactions and adverse effects of macrolides and vancomycin. You have to remember about vancomycin, all macrolides, especially azithromycin and erythromycin, and side effects where they should not be given, contraindications. So these are all about macrolide antibiotics. Thank you.